Hello, Sunday School students. Welcome back to Sunday School Online. I'm your teacher for this session, Deaconess Robin Miller, and I come to you by way of the Greater Bethlehem Temple Apostolic Church, located in Cincinnati, Ohio, in the community of Northside. Our pastor, Bishop James Chapman, our First Lady, Lady Robin Chapman, and as a church family, we proudly proclaim that there is a God in Bethlehem, and Jesus is his name. As is my tradition, I'm going to go over a few announcements, and then we'll go ahead and get into the lesson. As a reminder, we are back to in-person worship services every Sunday morning as the Lord allows at 11 o'clock a.m. sharp. So you're invited to come and be with us. Please know that we are following COVID practices so that we are keeping one another safe. That means that we are wearing our masks, we're doing hand sanitization, and we're distancing apart. If that's today you don't feel quite well, we welcome you to join us for our live worship experience. We stream from our website, gbtac.org. We stream on YouTube live on our YouTube channel, GBTAC Cincinnati YouTube channel. And we also stream on Facebook and Instagram. You're welcome to join us for the live worship experience. And that starts up at 11 o'clock a.m. as the Lord allows every Sunday morning. We also have additional Sunday school classes for various age groups that you can find on our YouTube channel. We also have on our website, and I will repeat that again, gbtac.org, the different auxiliaries that help our church community. But more importantly, what I would like to highlight from that website is our prayer line. Perhaps you feel like you need prayer, or maybe you've made a decision for Christ during this time that you don't want to put off the gift of salvation any longer that God has to offer. Please call us on our prayer line, and our pastors will be able to outline the plan of salvation. Or maybe you just would like to call for prayer. We are here for you. Along with that, our food pantry is open and our office contact information is on that website. So maybe you've been stopping by the temple and you would like to let Bishop James Chapman know that you feel like you are a virtual member. Call, introduce yourself, let him know that you've been stopping by the temple. And along with that, please remember to like and to subscribe. So we just celebrated Veterans Day, and I want to give a shout out to our veterans. Thank you so much for serving. There is a saying called the unsung hero. Now, that's defined as a person that receives little or no recognition for great deeds that they have done. Many of our veterans feel like they served out of duty. They served as a loyalty to this country. They served because they loved the ones that stayed behind, whom they were protecting. One such example would be in 1992, President George Bush celebrated the Buffalo Soldiers, an all-black Army regiment with outstanding legacy of service. There are so many of our veterans that have done so much just by serving. We salute you and we thank you for protecting our freedoms. Because of you, we remain free. Because of the grace of the Lord God upon this country, we are blessed. No matter what it looks like, there are so many things that we can point out that we feel like have gone wrong. But there are so many things that have gone right, and our veterans are one of those things that we can point out that have gone right. So we thank you so much for your service. We thank your families so much for sacrificing along with you for your service. Happy Veterans Day. Along with that, one other announcement that I would like to share is that today we celebrate our pastor and our first lady for the pastoral appreciation. Thank you so much for your service to the Greater Bethlehem Temple Apostolic Church. We are made better because of you. We thank God for the ministry that he has given to you, and we thank God for the sacrifices that you make for us. God bless you. Enjoy this pastoral day. So has everyone joined? Are you ready for the lesson? then we'll go ahead and get started. So our lesson today is Korah Challenges God. That's found in Numbers chapter 16, verses 1 through 14. And our golden text is going to be Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 1. Now, as we're getting started into our lesson, we're going to start with review. So last week we learned that Moses went before God and obtained mercy for God's people. And we saw this as a picture of Jesus as our high priest who intercedes for us and through which we obtain great mercies. We learned that God's justice is that he will forgive, but wrong behavior is deserving of consequences. In other words, sin demands punishment. So last week, your homework was twofold, and I'll start with the last one first. It was to read ahead for this lesson so that you knew what we were going to be talking about. And also, it was to answer or to consider the question that sin demands payment. What is our payment for sin? So who has the answer to that question? Nope, I'm sorry, it's not our good deeds. That's not our payment. It's a good answer. Obedience. That's a good answer. You know, that's in the Bible. Obedience is better than sacrifice, but that's not the answer. Jesus is our payment for sin? I think you're trying to get away with something. Give me a little more. What about Jesus? His sacrifice. Thank you. Jesus' sacrifice on the cross. That is our payment for sin. Now, could we pay for our own sin ourselves? I'm going to help you out with that one. No, we couldn't. It had to be a perfect sacrifice. And that's what Jesus was for us, a perfect sacrifice. Because of Adam and Eve, we are born into sin. We're not a perfect sacrifice. But Jesus was born without sin and didn't do any sin. He was our perfect sacrifice. So he died for us. He didn't do any wrong, so he didn't have to die for himself. But because of his love for us, he paid what we couldn't pay for our sin. And that in turn gives us the gift of salvation, right relationship with God. Okay? All right. So thank you for the attempt of doing your homework. So that's the answer. So as we go on into our lesson after that review, in our title, it says that Korah challenges God. So what does it mean to challenge? You don't have to yell it out. I actually have the definition for that I'm going to share. So you're good. But thank you for helping. So challenge means an objection to something as not being true. And this is found on Merriam-Webster.com online. And it's genuine, correct, or something as not being true, genuine, correct, or proper, or, and this is the part that we're going to apply to today's lesson, or the person as not being correct, qualified, or approved. That specifically points out a person in the midst of a challenge. So in our lesson, the leadership of Moses is being challenged again. And again, it's by family. So this time, instead of his sister and brother, Miriam and Aaron, it was his cousin, Korah. And men Korah stirred up in the priesthood. And like the lesson we studied with Miriam and Aaron, these men were jealous of the leadership of Moses. They said that they were holy like Moses, and they felt like Moses had set himself up over God's people, and they felt like they could do more. They lost focus over the job that God had already given them. And remember, when we lose focus, we concentrate so much on what another person has that we're unable to be thankful for what we do have. And we're unable to do the jobs that God has already given us fully because we're longing or we're reaching for, we're desiring, or we're working toward what someone else has. Do you know no one can outdo you at being you? They can try to mimic you, but your gestures, everything that God gave to you, belongs to you. Now, Moses tried to help them realize the special place that God had given them by asking them, did they consider it a small thing that God had separated them from the congregation to do service unto himself? Korah's discontentment was spread and shared with Dathan, Abiram, and On, and 250 leaders in the congregation. Are you seeing that pattern that other leaders are jealous and angry with Moses' leadership? It's not just the people in the congregation, but it's those who have leadership positions that can talk to Moses, help Moses, support Moses, and was called by God, but they're coming against Moses in our lessons. Now, Proverbs chapter 6, verse 18 through 19 in the International Children's Bible. Now, this is a part of a larger passage that talks about the things that God hates. It talks about seven things that God just outright hates. And this mentions a couple of them that apply to our lesson today. It says, or it reads, a mind that thinks up evil, a mind that thinks up evil plans, feet that are quick to do evil, a witness who tells lies, and a man who causes trouble among brothers. And we know that a man can be a man, a woman, a girl, a boy, a child, a grown up, a person that stirs up trouble among the brothers. God does not like it when we cause dissension, discord, disharmony, when we cause a separation or a rift among one another, when we disturb that piece of relationship that God has given to us. Now, in our lesson, in this same humble spirit that Moses interceded for God's people last week, this week he falls on his face before these men and he tells them that God will show who is his and who belongs to him. In our golden text, and I'm going to read that in both versions. I had to look for my glasses. In both versions, your teacher tends to hide her glasses from herself. In the King James Version, and again, that's Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 1. Therefore, thou shalt love the Lord thy God, and keep his charge, and his statutes, and his judgments, and his commandments always. Now, in the International Children's Bible, it reads this way. Love the Lord your God. Obey his orders, rules, laws, and commands. So I'm not talking about blindly following. You should discern or tell the difference between right versus wrong. We talked about that in an earlier lesson because we have the responsibility according to God's will to do the right things according to his command, even if our leader or someone else whom we highly respect does not. We have a responsibility to do the right thing according to God. So last week, God asked Moses, how much more can I do before they trust me? These men, these people, they weren't coming against Moses and Aaron. They were coming against what God had established. They confronted a man, Moses, about God's choices. Loving God is keeping his directions, following his ways, and respecting what he has in place for us. So today we learn that God hates when we disrupt peace and stir up strife within the family and others. We learn that God gives us all jobs to do, and respecting what he gives us honors him. So those are just a few of the things that we learned today in Sunday school. I encourage you to share what else you learned today from coming to Sunday school online. Or better yet, invite your family, invite your friends when we're going to continue this lesson next week, and it will be entitled Korah is Punished. And that's Numbers chapter 16, 23 through 35. And the golden text will be Psalm chapter 16, verse 1. So your homework will be to read ahead. And I leave you with my borrowed my borrowed saying from Veggie Tales. God made you special. There isn't another one like you, and he loves you very much. God bless you. I'll see you on the next time. Bye.